you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me.
Do you feel it?
Yes, we do.
A worldwide awakening is upon us. Welcome to the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show,
where we explore topics such as UFOs, aliens, banned medical cures, as well as classified secret knowledge. Come question your holographic existence. Share experiences from the other side. This is a show that will expand your mind as we decrypt the symbolic messages locked away deep within your DNA. And now, your guides to this magical journey. The hosts of the Universal Consciousness Show, Aage, Nost, and Diana Seraphim.
Hello, here we are again with the show for the thinking global citizen. My name is Aage and I'm one of the hosts, and I have Diana with me, my co-host over in Germany. Are you there, Diana?
I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, hello. And before we get into anything really important, let me just also tell you how you can connect with us. You can go to www.universal-consciousness-show.com, and you will find us on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and a lot of different places. You can go and you just put our name in and something will come up. And also subscribe to us on YouTube. And don't forget to click on that little bell next to the red subscribe button, because then if you click on that bell, you'll get a little notice when there's new videos coming out. That's a good one. So also I would advise you just keep a pen and a piece of paper close by, because once in a while we throw out a pearl, and it could be kind of fun to write that down so you don't have to run back and listen to the whole thing again to get that one pearl. All right, this time we're going to talk a little about medical issues, what the medical system is, and some of the things that they have withheld from you. And of course, I gotta say that I'm not a doctor. Diana's not a doctor. We do not practice medicine. We're researchers. I have been looking in medical journals and some of the common knowledge that is out there, and we're just reporting on it. So what you can do, just go ahead and fact check what we talk about, and you will find that, yeah, they got something. This is real. So what I wanted to talk about first is that the medical system in America, or especially the United States, is probably the only place in the world that if you get sick, you go bankrupt. They have a different way of doing things other places in the world usually. And here is all about the money. In fact, there are several, and they use the word cures. Other people use the word cures for cancers and other things that has been withheld from you. In fact, even more extravagant than that. Did you know that in 2009, 3 doctors got the Nobel Prize for discovering an enzyme that reverses the aging process? And nobody told you. Now that should be the most talked about medical news in this millennia, because that is the theoretical availability of immortality. But then again, of course, we understand what will happen to pension programs and Social Security and things like that if people quit dying, right? So, you know, society can't have that, so they covered it up for you. Actually, not really even covered it up. It is there. If you look for it, you can find it. And in fact, I wrote a book about this and other things. I'm going to mention that the book Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. And in there, I explain about this enzyme and how you can actually do that. It's fairly simple to do. And don't take my word for it. Go to the Nobel Committee's website, scroll down to medical submissions, and go to 2009 and read the papers. You're going to love it. Now, there is a pharmaceutical that actually claims to be somewhat close to this enzyme, but it really isn't, but they claim to have some of the same effect. It's called TA-65. It's a little expensive. It'll probably set you back $300-400 a month to do this, and I am reading on it, and I see that some people say, yeah, it seems to work for me, and then the others say that they used it for a month and nothing happens. So it's up to you to do your own research on that one. But I am doing this program in a different way. I am doing basically the same thing as a guy in China that I found out about. Li Qingyuan. He died from an accident at the age of 256. And the government verified his age on several occasions. So this is something to think about. I speak about that guy also in my book there. And you can read about it there also. The book can be had on Amazon. That's the quickest way to get it, probably. Another thing about this immortality concept. I don't know if there is such a thing as immortality, because sooner or later, first of all, it's not for everybody. Can you imagine yourself doing your present job for another 222,000 years? Well, I don't know if we can handle that. It's going to be, or either that, or sooner or later, you know, you're going to step in front of a bus and have an accident, and something could happen. So immortality, I think, is a little bit far out there. But the reason I'm doing it is because I want to stay healthy. And I am probably healthier than anybody I know at my age. I don't take pharmaceuticals. I, of course, exercise and do some things, but I also do some herbals. Take herbs, as this 256-year-old man did take. And I talk about that in the book. And it is a very interesting concept, because I'm looking in the mirror, and it looks to me like what I'm doing is working. Some of the so-called crow's feet and things seems to be disappearing on me. So I'm very happy with it, and I'm going to continue doing it. And there is actually cures for just about anything out there, but it has been withheld from you. I mean, take it even as a ridiculous thing. If you have foot fungus, well, there's a cure for it, but nobody talks about it because there's no money in it. Get some hydrogen peroxide and put it in a bowl, put your feet in it and sit there for an hour. The problem is solved. This is what medical journals talk about, but the doctors, they don't make any money doing these simple things. When back in decades ago, my martial art master told me, if you do this one thing, you will never be sick in your life. Well, I pretty much have done this one thing, basically every day. Forget a few times here and there. And that he said, take about 20 deep breaths until you get dizzy. And then slow down a little bit on your breathing and sit there and stay slightly dizzy for 3 to 5 minutes. What happens is that you flood the blood with oxygen. Oxygen that snuggles up to anaerobic cells and virus and bacteria in the blood and in the body and in the cells, and these pathogens die. They cannot handle oxygen. Now that goes right along with what Otto Warburg, that's OTTO, Warburg. He got the Nobel Prize in 1931 in physiology. Now, think about this. He discovered a cure for cancer, but it's been basically covered up. See, he found that cancer grows in oxygen-deprived tissue. Disease cannot survive in an alkaline body with a heavy oxygen content. Cancerous tissue is acidic, which means less oxygen. And healthy tissue, that is alkaline, which also holds more oxygen. Now he discovered the cure, and he's using the cure in his papers for cancer in 1923. And it took him, 8 years to get the Nobel Prize in 1931. Now, this man has a phenomenal amount of credibility in the medical establishment back then. Dr. Warburg was the director of the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute in Berlin, in Germany. Now, that institute is called the Max Planck Institute today. And for those of you who know who Max Planck was, I don't think you can get much more of a credibility than that. He discovered that cancer cells are anaerobic. In other words, they do not breathe oxygen. So they cannot survive in a heavy oxygenated environment. He said that if you deprive a cell 35% of the oxygen it needs for 48 hours, the cells will start turning cancerous. Now think about that. Especially you shallow breathers out there. I consciously, for a long time, I was trying to breathe deeper and heavier, and I still do that. So that's one of the things, that if you sit down and take 20 deep breaths until you get dizzy for 3 to 5 or more minutes, and I tell you, this is hard work. You're going to be wore out by the time you're done with the 5 minutes. But that's good, because you flood the blood with oxygen and you clean off the blood, and you're going to stay healthy. That's what my martial art master told me, and to me, I have proven it to myself. Of course, you got to prove it to yourself also before you can say that's a fact. But this is really something that people should think about. And then there's another man. There's a man called Royal Rife. He invented some equipment and a method to eradicate cancer and over 100 other diseases. And he proved it with his experiments and the studies he did with patients. He learned that all different cells in the body, they transmit a frequency, as well as they also internally, they have a mortal oscillatory rate, that he called it. That means that when you subject a cell or a cancer cell or any diseased cell to an electromagnetic wave coming from a square wave generator, and he projected through a glass tube with a gas in it. And when the cells are bombarded with that specific frequency that pertains to that particular, let's say, cancer cell, then the cancer cell bursts open and they die. Now, it happens because the protein shell around the cell disintegrate, and it kind of explode and die. Now, he spent years finding the different mortal oscillatory rates for the different diseases. And he proved over and over again that his square wave generator could actually eradicate cancer and many other diseases. Now, back then, the head of the American Medical Association, back then, a guy named Fishbein, Dr. Fishbein, he wanted to become Royal Rife's partner in this business. And he went up and he made the statement that we have found the cure for all disease. They published that in the papers, and he was expecting to be Royal Rife's business partner. Well, Royal Rife, he found out that this man, Fishbein, he wasn't quite what he, wanted him to believe. He was corrupt to the core, and he intended to steal the invention. So Royal Rife turned him down. And then Mr. Fishbein and the American Medical Association, they turned on Mr. Rife. And they totally destroyed his life, his laboratory. They came in with sledgehammers. They smashed the equipment. They took all his journals and all the equipment, and they charged him with fraud. And yeah, this is what happens a lot to the people that comes up with something really good for people. And of course, this is all public knowledge. You can Google Royal Rife generator or the Rife generator or the word Royal Rife. You're going to have a total eyeful. There's a lot of information out there. But the thing about it is that these now Royal Rife generators, you can actually buy them. They are for sale out there. You can find them on the internet. They cost anything from $1,500 to $5,000, depending on the different facilities that they have. And back in Omaha, when I lived back in Omaha, I had one of those. And we were playing with it, and we found it to work. We could knock out a cold in about 6 hours or so when we used those frequencies. So for me, I would say, I've almost said they work, but there are some of them out there. You really got to research this, because some of them out there are not quite what they claim to be. It is maybe, I don't know if I should say it fraudulent or not, but some of them don't work the way that we should think. So when you are looking into getting one, make sure you find one that has a lot of good testimonies with it, because those testimonies, they speak to it. And that's probably good advice with just about anything, I suppose. Now, the reason that Royal Rife was able to do this is because he invented a microscope. And this microscope could magnify up to 150,000 times. That means that you could put a bacteria or something under the microscope and blow it up, and you see the structure of it. And then he was bombarding that bacteria with the electromagnetic wave, until he kept turning the frequencies until he found that one frequency that killed the virus or the bacteria. So when he found that frequency, he wrote it down. And he did it again to double check it. And then he had that frequency, and then he went on to another disease and found, let's say, a bacteria for that, put it under the microscope, blew it up, and subjected it to the electromagnetic frequency until he killed it and wrote down the frequency. This is how he developed cures for, I think, I have the manual on it, that there's about 2,000 pages in it. And I think there's about 240 different diseases that he had found cures for. And this Royal Rife, he was totally destroyed by the medical establishment. And of course, we understand why, because what he did, there's no money in. Even for the medical establishment themselves, on their website, they talk about the cure ratio for chemotherapy being something like 3 to 5% over a 5-year period. So with other words, 95% of the people that get cancer and use chemo, it doesn't work. So there's a problem here, but there's a lot of money in it, so that's why they're doing it. And I would say, don't disregard what the doctor is telling you. Because most doctors, they don't know about these things because they're not taught about these other methods from the past that was very successful. They're not taught that in medical school. So if they don't know, you can't really blame them. And if you are in the middle of doing chemo, don't quit that and start doing something else. You can start doing something else in addition to other things. That's probably more so the way to do, because that's what a lot of doctors, Brzezinski out of Texas, he cures about close to 100% of the cancer patients that come to him. And he say, if your doctor is doing something, keep doing it, and just add some other things to it. And that way, you're not going against what the medical establishment is telling you, but you also have a way to possibly add some things that can maybe help. And I think that there is other things out there that you could look into, because medical science is not what we think it is. It is all about the money in the United States. Go to New England Journal of Medicine and look into maybe vitamin C treatment. You can go and read on the different diseases and find out what some of these old remedies, there are natural medicine treatment. Some of them are listed in Lancet out of England and New England Journal of Medicine. They list them in there, but the doctors are not told about it because there's no money in it. So it is there. If you go and find something that was successful in the past, you can go to your doctor and say, look here in the New England Journal of Medicine, they speak here about oxygen treatment as, let's say if somebody have a bad burn. Oxygen treatment help regrow the skin cells. And also colloidal silver salves they're using now in the hospital, but the colloidal silver, that kills pretty much all bacteria and virus. So you can look at these in the medical journals and you find it and then take it to your doctor and say, look here, I want you to do this. Chances are your doctor will do it. So now you got another option. And I see now that we are coming up against the first break here at the bottom of the hour. So come back with us at the other end of the break, and we're going to talk with Diana about what she has done with neuroscience and healed herself for some phenomenal things. I'll see you there on the other side.
You're listening to the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly connection to the truth.
To really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Share your knowledge by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230.
Call now.
Worldwide callers find us on Skype at KCOR Radio. It's time to abandon your fear and question what you think you know.
And now, if you will, accompany me on a journey to the future.
More awakening awaits.
After this, after this, after this, after this, after this, after this.
Here's what happened on the last episode of Three Guys, No Tie.
What do you got there, David?
A bear, a real-life bear in Colorado, drove a car into a tree.
What?
Yep. The animal stuck
Don't give anybody a driver's license out there.
Well, it's Colorado, you know, they're a little stoned, about half of them. The animal snuck into the unlocked car in a Boulder County on Thursday and got stuck. And it thrashed to free itself. The bear apparently butt shifted the car into neutral, causing the vehicle to roll backward like 100 feet and slam into a tree. Officials say that the impact sent the door flying open and the bear escaped. And cops could not find the guy to give him a ticket. So,
do we know if the bear had insurance?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They went to the good hands people and you get the finger. That's all I got.
That's one he's got a whole wallet full of those.
I've been saving that for decades.
Three Guys, No Ties. Wednesday nights, 7 to 9 Pacific on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Toxins are everywhere, from the air we breathe to the food we eat and the water we drink. In a world where 80,000 known toxins and heavy metals threaten our very existence, how are you going to protect yourself and your loved ones? Introducing Pure Body Extra Strength, the world's first colloidal zeolite that helps trap and remove toxins as well as heavy metals from your body that are messing with your memory, clarity, sleep, and focus. Don't just take our word for it or the testimonials from our thousands of happy customers. Check out the hundreds of articles and case studies on the National Institute of Health website proving zeolite's powerful ability to remove toxins. For a limited time, listeners to KCOR will receive 10% off their first order. To get started, go to trypurebody.com and enter promo code RADIO10. Again, that's trypurebody.com. Toxic junk is all around us, but now you can take back control of your health and protect yourself by detoxing with Pure Body Extra Strength. You'll be on your way to sleeping better, thinking more clearly, and feeling more energetic. Go to trypurebody.com right now and get started today.
Looking for a radio show like no other?
We need something brand new.
Then tune into the KCOR Digital Radio Network, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and get ready for The Quantum Shift. A great shift of consciousness is sweeping across the Earth. Are you ready for the dimensional shift?
It is amazing, is it not?
The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Hosted by Dr. Sam Muggsy and Kent Dunn. Be part of the fifth dimensional reality, where consciousness prevails and the universal law of one is the only true reality. The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Going live in 3, 2, 1.
It's time, once again, to unravel the mysteries of the universe by connecting the dots to a higher consciousness. This is the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Now the world will begin hearing us.
Share your knowledge by calling 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio.
It's as simple as that.
Find us on Twitter at KCOR Radio or use hashtag KCOR. Even better, join us on the live chat at KCORradio.com. Back to your enlightened hosts, Aage Nost and Diana Seraphim.
Hello, we are back. And this is Aage here, and Diana is with me. And we were talking about the medical establishment. Some of the things that you may have not been told about. And there are remedies out there, there are stuff out there, so remember, you are the one that is responsible for your health. It's not your doctor. You are the one that is responsible, so do your own research. And whenever you hear something that, oh, this is good for this and that, go research it. Because it may not be. So do your own research, and now I would like for Diana to explain some of the things that she has done. And I think of no one else that probably is more competent to speak on neuroscience and how you can heal your body than her. So Diana, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, of course.
Right.
Yes, what I've done is exactly what you said. I did my own researches. Yeah. And as I also told in my presentation from the first show, many years ago, I used to be the kind of person who thought everything happens to me. Everyone is better than I am. I will never manage. I will never succeed, and the list can continue. I hated myself. And of course, I collected a bunch of diseases, and I was overwhelmed with all kind of pains. And simply said, I thought my life is an unfair struggle, which I will inevitably lose anyway. And this is what exactly what I created for me at that time. I was depressed and obese and broken at all levels. And the real shift began as my limits were pushed too far away. As a single mother in a foreign country after a broken marriage, working in 3 different jobs in the same time with no support at all, I found out from the doctors that my little daughter at that time will end up in a wheelchair due to an autoimmune disease. It was the moment of my life where I first stopped and I decided not to believe in all these crazy things happened to me. I began to ask myself the fundamental questions that will come once in a life, like who am I, what I'm doing here, where do I come from, and why I'm here. Was it me creating all this? Is it something I could change, and which are the things I could change? And how do I accept the things that I cannot change? And where do I get the wisdom to see the difference between them? Can I look beyond the curtains? Is there something much higher than we are aware of? I reached a moment of disruption and I was suddenly awake, and I started a long way of researching about the truth. I started with the noetic science as epigenetics, quantum medicine, vibrational medicine. I researched all the scientific records about near-death experiences, and I was very fascinated about, and I decided that we don't have to wait to die in order to heal ourselves. Quantum physics and neuroscience opened my eyes wide, and after a while I simply felt like the veil was removed from my eyes. I then started to get deeper in spiritual practices like meditation, qigong, yoga, direct connective healing from Dr. Eric Pearl, as well as seeking for God. Let's take a look at the research from the noetic science first. Neuroscience proved we are responsible for our experiences, and we are literally the creators of our reality. As I started at that time to go deeper in this knowledge, I understood that a lot of bad experiences do not exist in reality, but only in our minds. They are just a result of how our mind interprets the events around. Let's take a common example, stress. Stress is the worst factor that influences our health. However, stress does not exist. Stress is only our reaction to a certain situation, depending on our brain interpretation according to a learned program. So this is our creation. We are all creators. We were programmed to think in a certain way, to believe in certain things, to react in a certain way, and so on, since we were born. And by simply, for example, by simply watching a rose, you can be sad that the rose had thorns, or you can be happy that the thorns have roses, depending on how you look at things. It is up to you. And we all know the famous saying, if you change the way to look at things, things change. This was also confirmed by the quantum mechanics, precisely according to the theory of Copenhagen, debated between 1925 and 1929 by Niels Bohr and Werner Heisenberg. The act of the observer of measuring a physical system will produce certain results. And much more, the physical system generally do not have defined properties prior of being measured. So in other words, To put it simple, we as observer, we can influence the observed system. Also, the famous scientific experiment, the double-slit experiment, proved how particles behave either as waves or as particles, depending on whether or not they are being observed. This was mind-blowing and gave us the understanding of our own power and the huge responsibility we should be aware of. And to go much deeper in the subatomic world, also the epigenetic tells us that our cells' behavior is in accordance to the information we provide, precisely to the way we think. A lot of information about change of brain by changing your thoughts is provided by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which was one of the most enlightening sources I found in my research. He himself was paralyzed by an accident with no recovery prognosis. However, he healed himself by thought alone. So he's not only a scientist in neuroscience, but also an explorer of this realm of science, as he experienced that and applied this knowledge on his own body. His book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, is a guiding light for the people who want to understand how we create our reality. Or his book, Evolving Your Brain, is also all his conferences and everything he's doing on YouTube. You can simply follow him. And by the way, the simple act of listening to such high-level information, like books, conferences, documentaries, will automatically raise your vibration. And soon you will no longer be the same person you used to be. You will be a part of this high vibrational information. And we already know by now that everything is information and everything exists in different level of vibration. The question is which level you choose. Remember, where you put your attention, you put your energy. So you will be a part of the system you are connected to. So will you choose to be a part of a healing information, evolving and enlightening knowledge, or will you choose to be a part of the stressful chatter of your own mind? We all know what our mind's chatter looks like. And we are all fantastic creators, and we have free will to create everything, whatever we think about, whether it's good or bad. As I first read about the mental programs that are implemented in our brains since we were born, I was very scared about this information. The whole educational system made us what we are today, manifesting the auto-destructive effects of our own beliefs. I asked myself, if it is like that, then who am I behind of this whole bunch of rules? Who am I without these programs, and where is the origin of myself? And how does it look from inside? And how can I remove all the subliminal mental programs running inside my head? How can I stop them from undermining my reality? It was also at that time the Brahmanic legend of human divine that made me think so deep. So wow, the divinity of the human was hidden inside their own heart, because the humans will always explore the outer worlds to search for their divinity, from the bottom of the ocean to the top of the cosmos, but they will never come to the idea to go deep inside their inner world. And this led me to a question that I put myself at that time. If the divine is inside me, what am I afraid for? And every morning when I wake up, I never worry if I still know how to walk, or if I know how to breathe, or if my heart knows how to pump the blood, or things like that. And why? Who or what do I trust in? If there is something there that we can trust to take care of everything, then we should trust the same power to take care of our healing. We should be aware of the power inside us that is beyond our understanding, the same power that created us and knew exactly how to put all the pieces together in order to create a system that will work perfectly. It was nothing randomly in the whole creation process. Something bigger than us knows how to fix everything. We just have to trust and allow the healing to happen. Also, according to the epigenetics provided by Bruce Lipton, our cells, they are a community. They communicate with each other. They have organs like we have, called organelles. They have the same functions like we have, and there is a whole science about this. Simply put, every one of us is a community of 100 billions of cells that have their own life, like we have our own life in a bigger system we call humanity. And exactly like us, they can live in harmony with each other, and the whole will be also harmonious. Or they can fight each other, and then we will have totally anarchy that will manifest in our body, the so-called autoimmune diseases. And also, amazingly, our cells, they do commit suicide through the process called apoptosis in order to save us from diseases, and they know exactly when they have to do this and why. And where do the cells take the information for, and how do they know to behave in one way or another? And there are so many questions that comes along with this research. And according to also to epigenetics, our cells take the information from the environment. A big part of this means our thoughts, our programs, our mental programs running in unconscious mind. So if I had the appropriate knowledge, I could tell my cells to do only the good stuff. And in this way, combining epigenetics with neuroscience, we can create our own designed body and our own desired life, according to our highest wishes. Of course, at that time, I had tons of questions. How can I do that? And I just didn't know how, but I just trusted my unknown inner power and my essence and my higher self, or whatever is there, that know how things to be done. And first, I started to observe what is happening. I understood that for each event that occurs in my life, I had an already implemented program which takes control of everything. So where was I in this tapestry? I mean, the real me, my soul with my wishes. Do I have any power left somewhere, or did I give my whole power away by allowing some other stuff controlling me? This was the moment when I understood I have to take my power back, to take the control of my life and start to run my own business, so to speak. I started also to meditate. And of course, I didn't know how, but I did. I sit there, I again trusted my inner know-how, and I just allowed. This is the word, allowing. I was sitting there in the lotus position, listening to meditation music 45 minutes every day. And I was sure something is happening inside, even though I was not aware of. I read a tiny bit from Deepak Chopra for a better understanding. And, one day while I was meditating, somehow I moved my eyes in a center point. I was with closed eyes, and I moved them in a center point. And there was something there. It was an explosion of colors from this center point to outside in big, big circles. And then it was a whole violet sparkling network multiplying itself rapidly. And this was all happening with my closed eyes. And I realized that this is what was something that was all the time there, but I wasn't aware of. I felt a strong emotion in my heart, like a physical warmth that made me cry. And it was like I came home after a very long journey. I knew it was love, what I felt, unconditional love. It is as if while you are praying, you suddenly feel God touching your heart, and you know He was there in every moment of your life since you were born, just waiting for you to be aware of His presence, of His love, no matter who you are or how you are. And suddenly you realize, oh, this is what I was looking for all the time, but I was looking in the wrong direction. And I was looking outside, and I thought it's my job or my lover, my career, my house, my clothes, my fortune, my look, and all these little things, you know. But I was wrong. It was always here waiting for me to embrace and to allow and to be aware. In such moments of awareness, you become one with God and you become the healing itself. And you are love. We all are, from the beginning to the end, seeking our true essence, and we don't know what are we seeking for. And I also once read that when a mother is practicing meditation on a daily basis, she takes the kids within the meditation because a mother has a divine rights above her kids. So I started to observe the changes in my daughter's behavior. She was changing the whole time. She was in a process of changing. She started to laugh. She stopped worrying about many things she used to worry before. She soon started to read lots of books about fantasy literature. She started to meditate. And after a while, I think in 1 month or something, we were to the regular check to the doctors, and they were very confused to see that her autoimmune disease simply disappeared. They didn't accept, so they repeated the analysis, and I was just laughing inside and thinking they will never find anything, and they didn't. And you know, any mother will understand what that meant to me. I was suddenly so free and happy and fulfilled. I didn't even notice when my illness disappeared because I simply forgot to focus on this. And the transformation around me was more exciting than everything else. And these all new aspects I discovered step by step were showing me different facets of the all. And soon also my body was in a normal stance, so I lose all my overweight, and I felt very fit and very good. I realized soon that the reason why the people are suffering is their resistance to the change. And it is the adaptability to the change that allow us to evolve and not the resistance to it. And as the change is the only constant in the universe, we have to go with it. I learned to accept and allow, to stop doing and practice being. In fact, we are human beings and not human doings, right? My favorite example that I like to talk about from the nature is the metamorphosis of the caterpillar into a butterfly. This miracle that science cannot explain yet. So do like she does. Don't look outside for the shift, but go inside in your cocoon, in your inner world, and allow the change to happen. Allow your divine essence to manifest from inside out. Become a new wonderful being, free from any attachment, manifesting pure love every day of your life. And now I'm sure it is just a little bit time left, but I'm sure many of you asking, why did my attitude also healed my daughter? My attitude was in the subconscious. I never denied the disease from my daughter. I simply accepted, but I accept it as something, as a phase that will pass. So I accept as this is something that is coming and going. This was always my belief that this is something that's happening for some reason, but it will go. And I never thought, not even one moment, that it will stay with my daughter. And I suppose because because of the field that is between us and the connection between us and the morphogenetic field, this is what healed her, my attitude and my belief that everything will be well. This is also what healed me, actually. I don't know how much time do we have.
I think we got about 3 minutes or so left. That's what puzzled me too when I first heard it, that your daughter also got healed by you healing yourself. You did not do anything different for your daughter than just healing yourself, and your daughter got healed.
Yes, but I believed every single moment. I had such a strong belief that this will not start, but I didn't deny the disease. I thought it's happening for some reason, and it will go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is something that goes along with the old Hawaiian healing method also, Ho'oponopono.
Yes, I did also Ho'oponopono. Yes, that's true.
And because we are one, we create our whole environment around us. Everything we see and experience and do is connected to everything else. So you were connected to your daughter. So when you healed yourself, you healed your daughter.
Yes. And we have to recognize there are the morphogenetic fields that Rupert Sheldrake is talking about that connect us all, also with our pets and with the plants and the nature. It is everything connected. We are all connected.
Yeah. And this is hard to wrap our heads around, but it is there. Start reading a little bit about quantum mechanics, and we will actually get a good understanding of this, because when it really comes down to it, what we see around us is not really there. It is created in our mind, and your daughter was in your mind. You are only in your mind too. When you look down at your hands right now, they're not really there. It is all a mind-created image for the purpose of learning and growing and having experience for the consciousness behind it. Am I close there, Diana?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that when you get into the depth of it, you start meditating. That's the gate to higher consciousness. You start discovering these things. And for those of you out there that's been listening to this, you may have some questions, but we're available on Facebook and different places. So just look us up, friend us, and we're going to have some fun with this. So, I wanted to also say, when you said you trust your inner power, it's a lot easier to trust your inner power if you see someone else that has done it before. So,
yes.
And there we are towards the end of the show. So we will see you again next week, same place, same station. Come back and see us and hear us, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been the Universal Consciousness Show.
The Universal Consciousness Show.
Your weekly guide to a deeper understanding of the all that we are.
Well, in a few years, it will be a matter of common sense to very many people that they're one with the universe. It'll be so simple.
Live Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the show, hosts, or their guests, please visit universal-consciousness-show.com. That's universal-consciousness-show.com. Remember, there's a shift coming, a new earthly paradigm, a shift to universal consciousness.
Universal consciousness.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the